A big thank you to MPB for sponsoring today's video.
So my guess is Llanfire and Cornwy. That's the best that I've got for you. I actually think that isn't too far off because I'm really interested in like reading signs and trying to understand how to say stuff. Anyway, if you haven't guessed, welcome to Wales. I'm buzzing to be back here. It's all a little bit last minute, but we got the camera and that's all that matters.
So just an hour or two before this photography outing, as I hurriedly gathered all of my gear together and stuffed it into my bag, I thought to myself, what is it that I love most about landscape photography?
And as I was thinking, it came to me quite quickly, and I reckon I can sum it up in just one sentence, and it goes like this: the thrill of anticipation. Now I have to admit, after I thought of that phrase, the thrill of anticipation, I also thought to myself, that doesn't sound like me. Henry, that doesn't actually sound like something that you'd say. You've nabbed that from somebody. And I was racking my brains, man. Where have I heard that phrase? Who has used that? And then it clicked. So I'm actually here on Anglesey on a little bit of a family holiday. It's not a photography trip by any means. Hence the Juventus fleece pants and the lack of planning, but we're here now, that's all that matters. But anyway, getting back to my point, the other evening we were all sat in our holiday cottage and we were watching Spring Watch. And there was this bloke on Spring Watch and his passion was badgers, everything to do with badgers. And he would film the badgers, he'd put trail cams out and things like that. And he'd have these incredible moments with these badgers. And somebody asked him, what's your favourite thing about this passion? And he said, you guessed it, the thrill of anticipation. And yeah, that is who I nabbed it off. The Badger Man on Spring Watch on BBC. So sorry, mate. However, I couldn't have summed it up more perfectly if I tried. It's so perfectly concise, isn't it? The thrill of anticipation. And for me, there's a few layers to this, and that is exactly what I want to talk about in this evening's video as we attempt to photograph some of the beautiful coastal areas of this wonderful island. And I would say right off the bat that this is my favourite thing about landscape photography as a whole. Oh man, so what did you think of those trees there? I didn't see them on the Ordnance Survey maps at all, and they just look quality. I had a little mooch about them with the camera, but I couldn't find any photographs. Now, as I've been coming down this lane here, I mean, look at that, man. Look at that for a vista. It's just made me think of what is probably the most obvious part of this whole theme of the thrill of anticipation that I want to talk about tonight, and that is the exploration of new places. This is definitely the main reason as to why landscape photography for me will certainly be a passion for life, because I've done this hundreds of times where I'm coming out with my camera to explore a location that I've never been to before, and the joy and the excitement and the anticipation just seems to get stronger and stronger. You know, these fresh perspectives, it's just so much fun, and this is like my favourite thing that photography brings me. And it's funny actually, because I used to get these, or I still do get these same feelings from travelling, you know, going to a new country, and before you've even got to the country, before you've even got onto the plane, you've just got this pre-excitement almost, this anticipation about not knowing what's going to be on the other side once you've got off that plane, you know. And it's the same in these landscape photography locations for me. Is, you know, it's not always amazing, it's not always mind-blowing, but I never know that. I never know what to expect. And for me, it's that freshness, that constant freshness that I just find so exciting, you know. And I think that's a massive reason as to why this passion for me just seems to get stronger and stronger every year. You know, it's mad really. So I'm going to get down to these little bays here now. Look at it, man. That is just stunning, is it not? And yeah, hopefully we can try and get some photographs. Oh, this has just been absolutely glorious, man. Look at the way, look at this, the way the light is just playing on all these waves and stuff. This big lump of rock here that you can see behind my head is actually an island, and you can maybe see just there the tide's on its way in and it's going to cut him off in a second. So yeah, man, what a treat just to be able to chill here and snap off a few shots, which by the way I've been trying something a little bit different. And I mean, when I first got to this location here, the first thing I noticed was that beautiful sea arch there, absolutely gorgeous. And I was playing around with the sort of wide angle lens, which is quite natural for me. I kind of default to thinking, how can I get all of this in? And I quickly realized that it wasn't really working. So I put the 12 to 60mm lens on, and I actually got these 3 photographs here that you're seeing. And the idea was to try and take 3 photographs that kind of marry together quite well. They feel like they match each other, and they're all a representation of kind of one moment in time. That's the idea anyway. So you might be seeing square crops, black and whites. I was trying all sorts of different shutter speeds, but the key is that hopefully those images work really well together. And what I was doing, in essence, was just experimenting. And that brings me on really nicely to another point that I wanted to make regarding the thrill of anticipation, or the thrill of the unexpected. So I didn't plan this location too much. I just sort of picked a small, probably little 1 mile section of the Anglesey coastal path. And I thought, what will be will, whoa, get a look at this. Get a look at this, genuinely didn't plan this. Look how cool all these wildflowers are. Look at all the different colours. That is just amazing. It's almost like the Macaire in Uist up in Scotland. That is really cool. But yeah, I didn't plan anything, but I'm going to head up this little coastal path here now, a little bit more towards the north, I guess, and just see what other delights await. But yeah, getting back to that point that I was on about a second ago. So I feel like the 3 little photographs that I got down there on the bay are probably quite a good example of this next point. It's like a deeper layer to the unpredictable nature of coming out as a landscape photographer. And yes, like I said before, we don't know what these locations are going to look like, and we don't know what they're going to feel like, and that is brilliant. That's really exciting. But also, we never know how we're going to photograph these locations. And again, that was such a good example. As soon as I stepped foot on that little bay, I was thinking, wide angle lens, brilliant, this is so epic. And it's like 5 minutes later, I was taking 3 little photographs that I never ever would have expected. Whether or not they're any good is a different matter, but I hope you get my point. I think it's all about being adaptable. These locations that you come to, a lot of the time they force you to be adaptable, because you might not be able to take photographs in a way that makes you feel comfortable. So I felt uncomfy taking those images, because for me it was so different, but I find that so rewarding, especially if you get home and the images are good. It gives you so much more motivation to get out the next time. And again, going back to the whole thrill of anticipation thing, it's knowing that that sort of thing can happen as well. It's not all just about going out on the coast, coming back with photographs that you usually get and you're fairly happy with them. A lot of the times, probably most of the time, yourselves, you go out as a landscape photographer and things are just not the way that you'd previously thought. Wow, look at this, by the way. This is quality. Just a little bit further up this coastal path now. Oh, you can see we're not far off from the sunset, and look at that. That is like picture perfect down there, isn't it? I might have to try and get a shot of this. Now I'm going to move a little bit further around, because right for the distance there, in light of unpredictability, everything that we're talking about this evening, I don't know what's going to happen in the next sort of half an hour with that sun. It's looking so beautiful. As we move on, I want to say another huge thank you to MPB for kindly sponsoring this evening's video. So MPB is a wonderful online platform that you can use to buy or sell used photography or videography equipment, and it is fantastic. I'm so proud to be sponsored by them. I've used them tons of times in the past before I was sponsored by them and things like that. And in terms of buying from MPB, it is brilliant. First and foremost, they've got really competitive prices, but there's a couple of things that I love as well. Firstly is the images that you see of the particular item that you might want to buy, say it's a camera or a lens. they are photographs of that exact piece of kit, you know, not just like stock items or anything like that. And I just think that is fantastic for peace of mind, you know, because buying used can be a little bit scary at times, but it doesn't need to be with MPB. And secondly, you get a 6-month warranty with anything that you purchase, and that speaks for itself, doesn't it? Now, as good as it is to buy from MPB, like I just said, where I think they're actually even better is in selling to them. You head over to their website, of which there will be a link in the video description below, and you type in the name of the gear that you might want to sell to them, and they will give you an instant quote for your gear, which is just fantastic. And it gets better, I think. If you're happy with the price, all you have to do is box the gear up. Say it's a lens or something, all you've got to do is box it up, and MPB will pay for a courier to come to your front door at a date of your choosing, and the money will be in your bank within sort of 3 days. It is brilliant. It's so faff free, and like I said before, I think I've used MPB since before I was sponsored by them, so you know, I feel so proud to be sponsored by a company that I've used myself anyway. It's class. But yeah, link in the video description below. Definitely go and check them out. They come highly recommended from me. I think I recently sold my Nikon Z30 to MPB to gather some funds to purchase my, you know, OM System OM5, which is what I'm using this evening. So yeah, another massive thank you to them. Link in the video description below. Use that link because it does help me out as well. Oh, so look at this. I've kind of come to the wrong place. I don't know if I can zoom in here a little bit. There we go. Can you see the sun? Just there, I think. Just starting to go behind the clouds anyway, but kind of like the wrong place here because that cliff has sort of blocked everything out. Oh man, I'm heading back the way towards that bay. It's proper been one of those evenings that just seems to have gone like that, purely just because I've enjoyed this frigging location so much. And I'm finding myself, as is quite often the case, let's be honest, rushing around a little bit here now just to see if I can eke something, maybe one last image out of the evening. Let's see. Madness! So I was hoping there was something you could help me with actually, because I did have one more point, but I haven't given myself enough peace of mind this evening to articulate it. But it's something that's kind of spinning away in my head, and what it is something about sharing our work that I love as well. The anticipation of taking a photograph that you're really proud of and then sharing it, whether it's with friends or family or on social media. Something about that I think is fantastic for me anyway, because I've spoken about this before. I'm not the type of photographer that purely and simply only shoots for myself. First and foremost, of course I shoot for myself, but it means so much to me to share my work with friends and family and with yous lot and stuff, you know, and to get feedback, for people to say your photograph's amazing, maybe for them to say your photograph's rubbish so you can improve. I don't know. Something about sharing I think is fantastic, and again, that adds another spice to the unpredictable nature of photography, especially for me, like for making these videos. I've come out this evening and I don't even know what I'm going to share with you lot because I don't even know that myself. But again, I don't know if that's articulated very well, so perhaps someone could help me out in the comments below, because I really think there's something in that. There's something to be said about, yeah, like the community side of it a little bit. I don't know. And, you know, if anyone else has got any other things, you know, or let me know, like, what's your favourite one thing about landscape photography? It might not be the same thing, but yeah, like, even like, you know, I'm looking up at some birds there now, like, I think they're oyster catchers. They're usually squeaking away, but you know, the little encounters that you have with wildlife, the little things that happen, the wildflowers that I saw, like it's mental, man, because I don't know what's going to happen when I next go out. I've had all that excitement from one little rushed photography adventure this evening, and I get to do it all over again, man, somewhere new. And that's why it's a passion for life, man, because it's just never ever going to end. That thrill, it is quality. Anyway, if you'd like to see another video of myself from Wales, there's one up here now. This one, yeah, has been a little bit rushed, but I hope you've enjoyed the adventure nonetheless. Please do subscribe if you enjoyed the content. And yeah, please comment down below. I love to hear from every single one of you. Thank you so much for your support. And I'll see you on the next adventure. Out.